Welcome to the Iowa City Noon Rotary Club meeting. We meet every Thursday in the same venue. My name is Usha Balakrishnan, and I'm the current president of the club this year until June 30th. Is that a show of happiness, delight, or sadness?
Always.
So we have a very special set of guests today amongst us. It's the entire class of the Leadership Iowa program, and we're going to try to have each one of them introduce themselves, and I'll explain why a little bit later. There are not going to be any announcements, no other announcements, no other guests, no inductions, no goat riders. So first off, I'm going to invite Kay Newman-Thomas, the Vice President for Programs of the Leadership Iowa, to come and explain a little bit about the program and why the class is here. Kay, come on over. I am a very proud graduate of the Leadership Iowa program from 2002, and others who are graduates, would you please rise? Okay, would you please tell us a little bit about the program and then ask each of the class participants to come forward to the podium and introduce themselves? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Usha, and good afternoon to all of you. It's great to be here, and we're honored to be here also. The reason we're here is you just saw her, Usha. What Usha says, we do. So thank you for inviting us very much. Leadership Iowa is a program of the Iowa Association of Business and Industry Foundation, or ABI for short. It's 35 years old. In our 35 years, we have graduated over well over 1,000 Iowa leaders out of the program. The program is designed to bring a diverse group of Iowans together to form to create an informed network of people who will build up our communities and our state. And it is proven over and over again by our alums who are sitting here about the great things that Leadership Iowa can do and the great connections and how that permeates then their organizations and their communities and the state overall. So we select 40 individuals each year. We travel from October to June, with the exception of February, to a different community in Iowa each month for 2 days. And each month there's a different topic. And we're in Iowa City today and tomorrow to study the topic of healthcare. What better place in the state can we do that, right? So again, we're delighted to be here. I'd like to introduce my colleagues, Jesse Stewart and Amanda Newsome are sitting right here. They have been instrumental in getting this all together. And then our program co-chairs, who actually are alums from last year, who come back to help with the second year. And we've got Melissa Reed here and John Osako. So thank you for being here too. All right, I think we're ready to introduce our class. So come on up. And I'm going to step aside.
I insist that each one of you do it alphabetically by your first name. I'm kidding.
Hello, Troy Van Beek. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Ideal Energy, and I reside in Fairfield, Iowa. And no, I am not a Rotary member yet.
Hello, my name is Alyssa Johnston, and I work for the Iowa Corn Growers Association, and I live in Urbandale, and I am not a Rotary member. Yes.
Good afternoon. I'm Brett Peterson. I work at a company called NCP out of Des Moines, Iowa, and I am a Des Moines AM Rotarian.
Good afternoon. I'm Kim King. I work at Alliant Energy in Cedar Rapids, and I'm not a Rotarian yet.
My name is Jim Atty. I'm the CEO at Waverly Health Center in Waverly, Iowa. I am actually an exchangeite in Waverly. Please don't call and let them know that I'm cheating on them today. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Adam Caduce. I work for a real estate developer, R&R Realty Group in Des Moines, and a proud member of the Des Moines AM Rotary Club.
Eric Walhoff, Sioux Center, Iowa. You can't get much further away from here than where I live. My friends introduced me as a worthless banker, but I work for Northwest Bank, and until today I did not know any Rotarians.
Good afternoon, I'm Carrie Nag. I'm from Pella, Iowa, and also work for Pella Corporation, and I am not a Rotarian yet.
Hello, my name is Jonna Keller, and I'm from Fairfield, Iowa. I work for a company in Keosauqua, Iowa called Hill Phoenix. I'm not a Rotarian, but I'm really happy to be here with you today.
Hi, my name is Kathleen Reeson. I'm a partner in a marketing firm in Des Moines called Measured Intentions. My husband and I also own franchises owners of 3 fitness studios and then a martial arts studio as well. And from Urbandale, Iowa, and I'm not a member of the Rotary Club yet.
Hello, thanks for having us today. My name is Sarah Dvorak. I'm the Vice President of Operations at Craig Tool in Huxley, Iowa. My husband and I actually live in Maxwell, and I am not a Rotary Club member, but I think my sister is. I've got a text out checking to make sure.
Good afternoon. I am Abby Olsen, Director of Recruiting and Hiring for Hy-Vee. I'm located out of the West Des Moines office, and I live in Norwalk. So I'm glad I could join you all today.
New club starting in Norwalk.
Oh. You do?
New club. New Rotary Club. I could do that.
Hello, I'm Tina Hoffman. I'm the Marketing Communications Director at the Iowa Economic Development Authority. And this is my second Rotary meeting in 2 weeks. So I'm not a Rotary member yet, but on my way.
Hey everybody, Tim Albrecht, former Brandsad spokesman, now head of Albrecht Public Relations, and I'm based in West Des Moines and not a Rotary Club member, but I think Adam Caduce has me convinced. So.
Good afternoon. Who else would I follow but Tim? My name is Susie Wynock. I serve as an at-large Cedar Rapids City Council member, and I proudly follow the 4-way test as a downtown Rotary member and a member of the Paul Harris Fellowship. And I look forward to being here with you today. Thanks for having us.
Hello everyone, my name is Casey Mills. I work at an insurance agency in Sioux City, Iowa called Mills Shellhammer Pitts, and I am not a Rotary member yet.
I asked Casey to follow Susie so I wouldn't have to. My name is Travis Sheets. I work at an annuity and insurance company in Des Moines called American Equity. I live in West Des Moines, but I'm originally from Wilton, this part of the state, and I'm not a Rotarian yet.
Hi, my name is Maggie Reyes. I work in Pottawatomie County, Iowa. I live in Mills County, Iowa, so I am from Southwest Iowa through and through. And I am not a Rotarian, so yet.
Good afternoon. I'm Jen Blyle, and I work at Van Meter in Cedar Rapids and reside in North Liberty. I've attended Rotary meetings but have not yet joined.
Hello, I'm Ryan Marty. I work at Rockwell Collins, Cedar Rapids. I live in Marion. I have worked at the Coralville plant before, so familiar with the area. Not in Rotary as of yet.
Good afternoon, my name is Chris Deal. I am a director at Modus Engineering, or a consulting firm with offices in Des Moines, Waterloo, and here in Iowa City. I am not yet a Rotary member, Jackie, but I was an ambassadorial scholar in 08-09 in Uganda, so thank you for that.
Good afternoon, my name is Stacy Pellett. I represent John Deere. I represent us at the Iowa Capitol. I live in Atlantic, Iowa, however I work in Des Moines, and therefore I am not a Rotarian yet.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Matt Converse, president of Converse Conditioned Air in Ames, Iowa. I live in Ames, and I'm a member of the Ames Noon Rotary Club.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Cowton. I live in Dike, Iowa. Work at a company called VGM in Waterloo, Chief Information Officer, and I've been a member of the Downtown Rotary since 2004. I was the youngest member at that time.
Hello, I'm Brian Sauer. I own a small advertising agency in Des Moines where I live called Saturday Manufacturing, and I have been solicited to join the AM Rotary in Des Moines.
Good afternoon, everybody, and first of all, thank you for the wonderful lunch. My name is Brinda Narasimhamurthy. I represent Kemin Industries. I live in West Des Moines, Iowa. My brother is a Rotary member. I am not yet, but I plan to be one very soon. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name's Pat Degnan. I'm the president of Bankers Trust up in Cedar Rapids, so do a lot of business down here as well. Been a Rotarian for about 20 years, in the Paul Harris Society, and currently with the Downtown Club in Cedar Rapids.
Good afternoon, Justin Marchant. I'm with Upper Iowa University. I currently live in Shell Rock, Iowa, and I am not a Rotary member yet. So.
I am Tori Schrock. I work at Mahaska Health Partnership in Oskaloosa, and I carpool with a Rotary member to all of our LI events. He'll be up here shortly, so I hope that gives me a little bit of credit, but thank you.
Good afternoon, I'm Janelle Kryling. I work at the Clinton Regional Development Corporation in Clinton, Iowa, and I'm actually a Kiwanian, so.
Hello, my name is Paul Erickson. I work as an engineer for Central Iowa Power Cooperative. I live up in Humboldt, Iowa, and I'm working out of Cedar Rapids. And my boss is the president of the Rotary chapter up in Cedar Rapids, Sherry Pope. And I'm not a Rotarian, but I've been to a couple of the happy hours, so.
Hello, my name is Paula Schmidt. I'm the HR director at SSAB in Muscatine, Iowa. It's a steel plant. And I am not a Rotary member yet, and I am from the Quad Cities.
My name is Wendell Campbell. I grew up in South Central Missouri, moved to Iowa about 5 years ago. I am the president-elect of Oskaloosa Chapter 2271 of District 6000 Rotary, so I will be seeing some of your faces at Pet's conference here next week. I would like to say your Rotary Club here has the finest piano player of all Rotary clubs in the Iowa City, Coralville area. I got the opportunity to play last night with Jim and Herb, whatever Herb's at. Herb was one of our backup singers. So we appreciate Herb joining us behind the microphone. But I am Tori's Rotarian by association, so I appreciate the time that me and Tori get to spend in the car. As we were talking earlier, you spend 5 hours in a car between Oskaloosa and Sioux Center with an individual. You get to know their hopes, their dreams, their wins, their failures. Just hope they don't find the eject button to get you out of the van. So we have a lot of fun riding together, and we're thankful for all of you to have us with you today for lunch. So thank you for having us.
Good afternoon. I'm Nathan Kotzer. I have the honor of following in the footsteps of Wendell in more ways than one and looking up to him as a role model. I'm from Southwest Iowa originally and now serve as CFO of Eagles Catch, which is an aquaculture and seafood company in north central Iowa. I've had the pleasure of attending dozens of Rotary Club meetings in the past and always been very impressed. So thank you for sharing your time and attention with our group today, and I look very much forward to being a part of that new Norwalk Club in the near future.
So since most of you are standing, could you stand for a couple minutes longer so that Ryan takes a picture of all of your presence here? This is wonderful that you've added to the spirit of Rotary and our meeting today. Thank you for being here. And for each of you who said, I'm not a Rotarian yet, please, on my behalf, fulfill the promise of joining Rotary. Our program today begins on RAG4Clubfoot, but usually at Rotary we do sing a pretty fun song. For those who haven't heard it, Please join in. It's called Smile. And I'll have the lyrics for you up on the screen.
Okay. Screen. We might have it memorized, I don't know. Yeah. Smile and the world smiles with you. Sing a song. Don't be weary, just be cheery all day long. Whenever your trials, your troubles, and your cares seem to be more than you can really bear, smile and the world smiles with you. Sing a song. We're all done.
Did you like the song? It cheers you up. Okay, moving on. I'm going to have our past district governors and co-chairs of RAG4Clubfoot, Jill Olsen and John Ockenfels, come up to the podium and introduce the other RAG4Clubfoot team members.
Everybody in this club, on this side of the room, knows what RAG4 is, right? RAG4Clubfoot. Everybody on this side heard about it just a little while ago. Now we're going to go in just a little bit deeper. The RAG4Clubfoot is a Rotarian action group whose primary purpose is to help facilitate the treatment and training of doctors to bring clubfoot treatment to other areas of the world. Bottom line, we need to get the doctors that are already trained in areas of the world so they can train more doctors so that we can get more kids treated. We are a local organization basically based here in Iowa, specifically out of the University of Iowa with PIA, for the Ponseti Institute. Thank you, I've got that all blown up. We'll get it. Anyway, we're local, but we're worldwide in action. That's just like Rotary, isn't it? So that's what we're going to remember as we go forward. Local, worldwide, keep that in mind.
Thank you, John. And first of all, something that I think we haven't shared, and Tom, I hope I'm not stealing thunder here, but the vision for RAG4Clubfoot is that we will train 4,000 doctors across the world in the next 10 years. And that vision means that we can then be able to have every child in the world treated for clubfoot. So that's our vision. It's doable and it's reachable. We're here with Leadership Iowa, and we say, you know, they're the young leaders. My definition of young is, as long as you've got a breath still in your body, you are young. And there are things that we can do. There's a phrase that I've used for a long time, and it is the sacredness of the now, that what we do makes a difference and will make a difference. And we have to believe that. And the other part of that phrase is the saints among us. Now, I know if you're a Catholic, you have to die to be a saint. But there are many people among us who are saints that we just simply haven't recognized yet. And one of those people is Herb Wilson. And Herb, I bet you've never been introduced as a saint before. Welcome to the podium, our founder and our saint, Herb Wilson.
Well, if you like a second opinion, talk to my wife. Well, you're going to hear a lot of things, but I want to talk a little bit about maybe another subject. First thing I want to say, however, is this. I have a very deep-seated conviction that the world needs more Rotarians. And I'll address that to all of you folks here who haven't yet arrived. But it's a great organization, the greatest organization I've ever had the privilege of working for and being a part of. And it's available to you, so don't miss this opportunity. I want to talk just a little bit about our RAG and what we're doing. You know, I'm reminded that back when we had started our polio drive in Rotary, they announced that there were 350,000 cases of polio a year. Can you imagine that? In 1985. Everybody know when we got the vaccine? 1955, right? All their kids were vaccinated, 55, 56, right? How on earth did we have 350,000 people around the world who are not vaccinated? So this little two-bit organization we're part of here took on the challenge. It was not the United Nations, it was not the US government, it was not NATO, it was the Rotary clubs of the world. I'm so damn proud of that. I can hardly stand it. However, we did that, you know, in the last 10 years, we've had less than 1,000 cases per year. Last year we had, I think, I don't know, 37, 47, 3 so far this year, last I looked. We're conquering this deal. However, I became aware about 2006 or so through PIA and some of the things that were happening here that what you're going to hear about. There's 200,000 kids, children born each year with club feet. We have a wonderful solution for that problem. Why does the problem still exist? Who's going to do something about it? Guess who? Rotary. We started this RAG here in Iowa City, here in Iowa really, with a bunch of Rotarians in District 6000 and 5970 together saying, we're going to do this thing. And I can guarantee you we are going to do this thing because it's worth doing. One of the biggest things that I think we're up against in all of this is the fact that, let me tell you a couple of things first. I called some Rotarian friends in Denmark. You know, it's a nice thing about Rotary, you do that. And I said, what are you doing in Denmark with Clubfoot? They said, Herb, our national insurance group 15, 20 years ago stopped reimbursing the surgical repair of club feet. We've been Ponseti for 15 solid years. How come they're so smart in Denmark and we're so dumb in America? So anyhow, there's one of the things that we really have to get straight, I think, if we're going to do this around the world, is we have to get the insurers to stop reimbursing the surgical repair of club feet. So how are you going to do that? Well, we're going to start wherever we can, dig it in, and try and get it going. If you know any politicians, you might talk to them. I've talked to many of them. What we really got to do is we got to stop the cutting. The cutting causes problems. You know, if not immediately, you know, later on I have circulatory problems. I got enough circulatory problems now, I don't need to have some scars in my ankles, you know. But this is really a vital thing, and I think we have to get after our insurers. There is a thing called a Hippocratic Oath, you know, for doctors. And every time they cut in, they're in violation of that Hippocratic Oath. We got to get them to recognize that. We got to get them to take action. Now, what's even sorrier than that is the insurance companies who are reimbursing them, right, are aiding and abetting their action. If they're not going to reimburse them, as they did in Denmark, there wouldn't be any more cutting. There'd be Ponseti all the way across the board. That's our aim. We hope to get there. We need everybody's help. Pitch in.
Thank you so much, Herb. Okay, now our main speaker. Where are you, Tom? Okay, it's time for Tom Cook, the Global Operations Director for the Ponseti International Association, to tell you a lot more about Iowa's gift to the world. And Iowa Rotary's gift to the world, when I say those words, there is somebody in this room that we are missing. And that's why we're getting this program recorded. John Buchanan, I know you are in Marco Island. We really miss you. We wish you were here, sharing your enthusiasm. We love you. So I want to make sure that people in this room sign on to do something for RAG4Clubfoot. Okay, anything. And Tom, I think, as part of his presentation, will note down some things as suggestive action steps for you. I hope a class like this from Leadership Iowa teaches us what could be done, what kind of calls to action could be utilized or issued to younger leaders. Tom?
Thank you very much, Usha. I give a lot of talks, but it's really the hardest acts to follow are Herb and Usha. So give me a second to get organized here. Let's see, get me on there. Okay, well, thank you all for coming, and it's really great to have the Leadership Iowa people here. I know a lot of you have heard the information before about Clubfoot and about Dr. Ponseti, but I think in the interest of getting everyone on the same page, I'll do a quick review of what that's all about, and then talk a little more about the RAG4Clubfoot, our main topic for today. This is Clubfoot. Okay, this is one of the cute little, I'll call her Sophie. A great little baby. What's the problem here? Otherwise healthy, otherwise fine, but take a good look at her feet, and this is classic bilateral clubfoot. It's, again, the most common musculoskeletal birth defect in the world. Approximately 1 in every 750 live births, whether you're, again, a dirt farmer in Rwanda or a wealthy person in Las Vegas or wherever you might be, the roll of the dice says about 1 in 750 times you're going to have a child born with clubfoot. It's a random genetic thing that we don't really totally understand yet. Twice as common in males as females, and occurs in both feet about half of the time. And again, it's not just, it's everywhere, and these are some examples of clubfoot, kids from around the world. Again, Mexico, India, China, you name it. There's really not much discrimination in terms of who turns up with this. And you see a couple examples here of what happens if it's not treated, or if you're destined to go through life with your feet turned down and in like this. And in fact, here's a couple examples. Two little guys. Real one on the left is 7 years old in Nigeria, and Octavia on the right is 10 years old in Brazil. And you can imagine, certainly in a developing country where walking is so important, you need to walk to school, you need to get water, you need to collect firewood, you need to do everything on your feet. If you're burdened with this kind of a deformity, you're subject to ridicule, your opportunities are severely limited, and the data shows you're likely to end up in an orphanage if you're lucky in some cultures, and certainly destined for a life of deprivation and not much chance for success. Herb mentioned about surgery, and I turned this color picture into black and white because I know it's a luncheon meeting. But you can see what surgery amounts to, and that is, there's no question the surgeon can go into your foot and ankle in about an hour's time, straighten things out, put a few pins in, and make the outcome look like a foot. The problem is that in the process, when you lengthen things and shorten things and cut joint capsules and release ligaments and so on, you're in pretty bad shape later on in life. So the parents are happy after an hour of surgery that your foot looks normal. You're good when you're young and maybe a teenager. The data shows here by the time you're 20, you really start going downhill. You start to go downhill. And by the time you're in your 30s, your quality of life is equivalent to having Parkinson's disease or chronic heart disease. And I can tell you, and we have somebody from Oskaloosa. I can tell you that last week I spent an hour talking with a young man who's 22 years old that just had both of his feet amputated because he couldn't no longer live with his two painful arthritic feet as a result of 4 surgeries when he was a youngster here in Iowa. So that's why you hear Herb be so passionate about surgery. It's not only costly, a waste of medical resources, it's a long-term detriment for the young kids that undergo it. Well, what do we do about it? Well, the alternative to surgery, of course, is Dr. Ponseti, who came here to the university in 1941. And by 1948, he had it all figured out. He figured out that he could do some serial casting, some sequential casting, and progressively straighten out the foot, just like we think about orthodontics. Okay, the orthodontist doesn't grab a pair of pliers and straighten your teeth or cut your gums and rearrange things. They very gradually let, as Dr. Ponseti would say, let nature do what nature wanted to do, and that is to grow a straight foot. So he had this figured out, but he spent decades convincing the medical community that it was a better way to go. Even though he published numerous scientific papers, everyone ignored him. And finally, in 1996, he wrote a comprehensive book on all of his research, and the internet arrived. And the parents on the internet started to realize that surgery was not the way to go, and that Dr. Ponseti had the real answer to fixing kids' feet. Here's what it looks like. Basically, you see a little 1 week, 10-day-old, 2-week-old infant, teeny little feet. You gently manipulate and stretch those as far as they will go into the normal posture. Apply a plaster cast, just like putting on braces on your teeth. Apply a plaster cast, wait about a week, stretch a little more, do it again, stretch a little more, and it doesn't take very long. In fact, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks, and you can take a foot like some of those that I showed you in the first couple pictures and turn them around. And this is just sort of a time lapse of 5 weeks of the same foot, and as they came out of the cast, this is what they look like. And at the end of 5 or 6 weeks, typically, there are some problem cases, but typically 5 to 6 weeks, and the foot looks like and functions like a normal foot. One of the nice things about this technique, when we talk about the global problem of clubfoot, is that you can do it anywhere. Because so far, what did I say you need to do it? A smart doctor who knows what they're doing, and some plaster. Okay, so it's not, you don't need an x-ray, you don't need an anesthesiologist, you don't need surgery, you don't need anything. It's non-invasive, and anybody can do it anywhere. The people you see here, top left is Mexico, the top right South Africa, the bottom is Gaboko, Nigeria, where all the bad guys are running around these days. So it's possible to do this just about anywhere. The second part of the treatment is really the parent's responsibility, and that is once the feet are corrected by the casting, the tendency, just like with your teeth, if the kids don't wear their retainers, the feet want to turn back in again. Okay? And principally at night, when they're resting and relaxed, the genetic code for this deformity is still there, and the feet want to go back again. So the kids need to sleep in a pair of shoes with a bar, like some examples you see here, to keep that from happening. And if you're really good, you can calm the kids and tell them they're sleepy shoes and all sorts of things. And the really successful parents, the kids don't know any different. They think when you go to sleep, you put shoes on, you know, and it works. And if you can do that until the kid is 3 or 4 years old, they're off to the races. During the day, they're doing everything any other kid does, as a 1-year-old, as a toddler, as a young child. It's just at night, they have to keep that recurrence from happening in terms of the feet getting curled up again. Bracing is a problem, because you can imagine if you have a 2-month-old infant, the feet are about yay big, right? And nobody makes really good shoes for feet that small. So you've got to hold the foot firmly, but you can't hold it too firmly because of tender skin and so on. So there's a challenge in coming up with a real good quality brace, particularly in developing countries where materials are hard to come by. Leather's not the greatest. You can't find silicone liners and things. So we have very good quality braces, one of which was developed by Dr. Ponseti here in Iowa, but it costs $400, $500, $600, and that's a year's salary in Rwanda or Zimbabwe or someplace. So that's a problem, and it's a problem around the world, because if they don't wear the braces, they get relapses, and if they wear poor braces, they get skin sores, and ultimately, in the middle of the night, the parents say, we can't do this anymore. The kid's crying all night because his foot's bleeding. Let's just give up, and then they're back in the clinic to start all over again. Okay, so what's it going to take to fulfill this vision of a world without clubfoot disability? In its simplest form, it's kind of 3 things. One is we need enough smart doctors who know how to do this, and it's more than just apply a cast. You can imagine with a teeny little foot, the actual manipulations are quite delicate and quite intricate. Dr. Ponseti used to say it's like playing the piano. You had to feel every bone with your fingers. So we need to train doctors, as Herb mentioned, and that's the key thing that we try to do at Ponseti International. We do need some good braces that are affordable in the developing countries if we're going to reach all these kids. And then we need support in a lot of the clinics and hospitals where this treatment's being applied. There's a need for simple things like cost of transportation. How do you get to the clinic since you have to come back every week? Things like food for the kids while they're waiting to be treated. Basic issues like awareness that clubfoot is treatable. Where do you go to get it fixed? In many cultures, people don't even seek treatment because they don't know it's available, or if they do, they have a cultural impediment to changing what it is that Allah or God or whoever decided their kids should live with. So there are a lot of cultural issues to be dealt with on the local level, as well as financial and logistical issues. Ponseti International, and I won't go into all the details, but this was a association recognized by the Board of Regents in 2006 at the University of Iowa. And for the last 10 years, we've been trying to train doctors, tried to build programs, develop clinical guidelines, work with orthopedic societies, conduct symposiums, mainly do a lot of training doctors to and healthcare people to support treatment of this program. And the training is a bit more than just, okay, let's give a 2-hour lecture about how to do this. It really requires hands-on training because it's a manual skill. It's like surgery. You wouldn't learn surgery by looking at a DVD, or at least I wouldn't want the surgeon working on me if they did that. You want someone who's trained to learn this manual skill and do it with great exactness. So it takes seeing 25 or 30 patients. It takes having a skilled mentor sort of look over your shoulder, just like the way you would learn to do surgery or any other intricate medical procedure. And then the Iowa Brace, about 4 years ago, we put together some of the smartest people we could find here at the university and said, can't we develop a low-cost, highly effective brace that we can get to these people in developing countries? And the result you see here is the Iowa Brace. In the process, we've formed a 501c3 called Clubfoot Solutions, now headquartered in Cedar Rapids. To produce what you see here is the Iowa Brace. Functionally, it's equivalent to the $400 or $500 brace that we see here in the U.S. We've made about 30,000 of these available now for the developing world at about $15 a piece. So by mass producing them in this China, okay, which nobody makes shoes in the U.S. anymore, but by mass producing these and shipping them in large quantities, we have 3,000 in Nigeria, 3,000 in South Africa, 3,000 in Pakistan, and they're being distributed to clinics in those countries. And again, that's sort of another story, but the university actually owns the patent on these braces, and they'll probably never make any money because it's a nonprofit, but they don't know that, so we won't tell them. Okay, then Rotarian Action Group. Okay, that's what main thing we're trying to talk about. As you've heard already, Rotarian Action Group is not a Rotary Action Group, it's a Rotarian Action Group. So it's a collection of Rotarians that have a common cause that get together and say, let's do something about this problem. You see the list here in terms of the different issues, in terms of blood donation, hearing loss, literacy, malaria, and all the different issues. And about 1.5 years ago, we went through the process to get recognition and approval by Rotary International for the RAG4Clubfoot, Rotarian Action Group for Clubfoot, under the mantra of maternal and child health. This is the website. It's pretty simple, rag4clubfoot.org. I'll give you that again at the end here if you want to write it down and check it out. And in the simplest form, as it says on the website, is the RAG4Clubfoot is a global clearinghouse and a project facilitator. So the idea here is to be a matchmaker, to find clubs and districts that are interested in addressing this problem and help them join together, help them write grants for training purposes, help them do projects on the local level to see if they can support treatment, recognition, referral, and treatment of kids with clubfoot. So here's some of the things that we think Rotarians can do as related to and around the Rotarian Action Group. They can certainly, the RAG is certainly interested in recruiting Rotarians, so that's why we're waving the flag saying join up, be a member, help us out. Certainly support training for physicians. We need 4,000 physicians. The average doctor trained to treat clubfoot can treat about 50 kids a year. That's one new patient a week, and then they see them every couple of weeks for casting and such. So our 10 years of experience says 50 patients a year is a good number. So if you divide 200,000 kids by 50, you get 4,000 physicians. So we need 4,000 clinical sites around the world. We probably need another 1,000 because they're never going to be equally distributed, but we need at least that many to treat the kids that are born with clubfoot every year. We need to involve and assist families and caregivers. Again, as I mentioned, simple things like transportation, bus fare, the cost of plaster. In Nigeria, a roll of plaster costs $4. And I can tell you there are parents that come into the clinic and we say we need 2 rolls of plaster to put your cast on your kid's leg, and they'll say, I'll come back next week. Because they're going back to the village and talk to somebody, the church, the family elder, the village elders, or somebody to come back with the $8 to buy the plaster to put on their kid's foot. And that's the kind of thing that certainly Rotarians can help with. We know about braces, and we're working on using a lot of the networking of Rotarians to help get braces into the countries where they need to go. I mentioned a little bit about public awareness, the simple message that clubfoot is treatable. Putting up posters in dispensaries or pharmacies or gathering places in different countries just to show pictures of before and after treatment to get families to bring their kids to the clinics. And then again, refer to appropriate facilities. And then ultimately, as Herb was alluding to in terms of the governments or insurance or whatever the system might be, to make the Ponseti treatment the standard, the routine treatment, just like if you have an ear infection, you get an antibiotic. If you have this, you get that. If you have clubfoot, you get Ponseti treatment. That's the goal in 10 years, that it's nothing special, and people forget that we ever did this. It's just part of the routine treatment that kids get everywhere. Let me give you an example. This is, I'm sure you've all been reading your Rotarian magazine, cover to cover, right? The one you just got? Everybody's read that? If you're reading it, you see in the World Roundup, they talk about projects, global projects in Malaysia, Argentina, US, Philippines, and number 5 is Nigeria. Interesting. What's going on in Nigeria with World Roundup? And I'm sure some of you may not be able to read this from where you're sitting, but there's some key features in this news item. That 3 clubs in Lagos, Nigeria, 3 Rotary clubs, got together, raised $13,000, and they're using that money to treat 210 indigent children, meaning children who wouldn't otherwise afford treatment, and they're being treated at the Lagos State University Hospital, in Nigeria. Great project. Exactly the kind of thing that as a RAG we would like to facilitate. Local clubs buying in to the need to treat the kids in their community. Well, that just didn't happen, okay? This is Dr., you ready? Olayinka Adegbahingbe, okay? He came to the University of Iowa here in 2007 to work with Dr. Ponseti to learn the Ponseti Method for treatment. He stayed on and worked another week or 2 with Dr. Marquende, a member of our club who's actually in surgery today or couldn't be here. 2009, Dr. Bill Whitmore, a retired orthopedic surgeon who studied under Dr. Ponseti, in 2009 spent his own $5,000 to bring himself and 4 other physicians to Nigeria to work with Dr. Adegbahingbe to train 8 more doctors. Okay. We got a little grant from the USAID a couple years later. Sorry to have me in the picture back there, but the person on the left is the Minister of Health of Nigeria. Okay. And we went with our program champions, these doctors that have been trained, and sold the Minister of Health on making the Ponseti Method the standard of care in Nigeria. It took more than one visit to do the selling, I'll tell you that. What you see here on the right, the gentleman on the far right, the African gentleman, is a past district governor of Rotary who happens to be a doctor and who happens to work in Lagos State University Hospital. Okay. And this is what the clinic looks like there. You see Dr. Olienka, Dr. Degmahembi peeking in over the shoulder, but this is actually the clinic that was written up in the Rotarian magazine. So it takes a while to make this all happen. It takes a lot of politicking. It takes a lot of discussion. But lo and behold, the Rotary clubs now are stepping up and saying we can do this. So now each star you see on the map here is a clinic with a trained doctor who can deliver Ponseti Method treatment to the kids in Nigeria. There are 8,000 kids born every year in Nigeria with Clubfoot. And we probably need 120 clinics to do that. Right now, the latest count is about 60. And no more money coming into this. They're all doing training more and more doctors themselves with local resources. They're on a roll, and they're actually a model program for the rest of Africa. Let me show you one more example of another doctor that's part of the group there. Who's ever heard of Enugu, Nigeria? No? Somebody else? Oh yeah, Jim has. Okay, Enugu is one of the states in Nigeria. It has a population equal to Iowa, about 3 million people, although it's 1/20th the size. You can imagine the density of the population. One of the doctors there is we'll call him Dr. Lash, that's what we call him, Dr. Lash, but he was one of these 8 people that Dr. Whitmore helped train back in 2009. He now runs a very active clinic in Enugu. And what do you think Rotary can do for Dr. Lash? Well, who knew in Enugu that there were 19 Rotary clubs within 50 miles of his clinic? So when he has indigent patients, just like the patients in Lagos, the logical place to go is to the Rotary clubs. So part of what the RAG is involved in is getting Dr. Lash invited to go speak to the Rotary clubs and have the Rotary Club members come see Dr. Lash's clinic so that they can develop some chemistry in terms of how the Rotary clubs might be able to help out at the local level. And as I mentioned, the training is kind of the central to all this. You need to train physicians to make this all work. And we have a project ongoing with Rotary funding, much of it originating in this district in 5970, with a project ongoing in Brazil to train another 60 doctors. We have a project in Mexico that's just about to be resubmitted to Rotary International, and then we have the other countries you see here. Projects in various stages of development to use some of the matching funds and the district designated funds that you all have contributed to help fund these projects. We've been engaged in, of course, the RAG is engaged in, again, spreading the word. This is the meeting in Brazil, Sao Paulo. Another thing that we've been involved in that Rotary's helped out with greatly is World Clubfoot Day, okay, June 3rd. And some of you have heard the story before, but June 3rd is Dr. Ponseti's birthday. And if you want to declare a World Day, you go to Wikipedia and you find a day that nobody else has declared, and you say, this is World Clubfoot Day. And it's probably one of the greatest things we ever did, because people all over the world are celebrating World Clubfoot Day, as you see from some of these pictures from Pakistan and India and Chile and other places. It just is taken off like a rocket. We have other projects locally. Laces for Braces is a project. You see the Cedar Rapids Colonels baseball players here with their colored shoelaces, as well as about 8 or 10 of the high schools and such in Cedar Rapids area raising money. We got the company to donate the braces, and the money that we take in helps us fundraise. This June 3rd here in Coralville, we're going to have a kids triathlon. This is a project that was started by a mother in Minneapolis a couple years ago, and she last year had 400 kids sign up and find sponsors. We're going to do the same thing in Coralville this June 3rd, and you'll hear more about it because we're going to solicit Rotarians to help us out. Let me show you, this is our buddy Rilwin. I showed you to start with, our little guy from Nigeria. You can see on the right what he looks like after 5 casts, even though he was 7 years old, treated by Dr. Degmahengbi. Not walking perfectly, but then he hasn't done a lot of walking in his first 7 years of his life. The outfit he's got on here is his school uniform, so he's going to school for the first time, because before that he was living with his grandmother. His father couldn't tolerate having a deformed male offspring in the house, so since shortly after birth he was living with grandma, but now he's doing a lot better, and I can report he's going to school. walking to school, by the way. And this is Octavia from Brazil. He's 10 years old. It took about 7 casts to get his feet straightened around from what you see on the left to what you see on the right. And you probably saw the big smile on his face. He's pretty happy. And kind of changed his life dramatically. So again, what's it going to take to make this happen around the world? As we mentioned, train the doctors, and we think we've been at that mission now for 10 years with Ponseti International. High quality braces, we think we've got a handle on solving that problem with what's happening here in Clubfoot Solutions, and of course the RAG4Clubfoot is anchored here. And I would reinforce the point, this is all Iowa stuff, okay? This is Dr. Ponseti developed a technique here in Iowa. We developed the brace here in Iowa, and now we have the headquarters of the RAG4Clubfoot to promote this and really spread it worldwide. There are 2 million kids will be born with Clubfoot in the next 10 years. Okay? And there's no reason any one of those kids should have to go through life like Rowan did or Octavia did before the treatment came along. And we really view all of this as, quite honestly, Iowa's gift to the world. This is an Iowa-centric campaign and something that started here and we hope will grow around the world. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Tom. Due to time limitations, because our club ends its meeting at 1 p.m. sharp, Herb, do you have a comment?
Well, what's Iowa's gift to the world?
Oh, what's Iowa's gift to the world? Ponseti. RAG4Clubfoot.
What we had missed, we have, through the RAG4Clubfoot sponsored, Iowa's Gift to the World, which is a special fundraising program for every Rotary club in Iowa. Now, most of us don't know it, but there's actually 4 districts in Iowa because we have a couple slivers on the western side. So there's 4 districts involved, every Rotary club. We're trying to raise approximately $20 per Rotarian. This is going to generate somewhere in the area of $135,000 to $140,000. John Buchanan from this club started the initiative by offering to match dollar for dollar every dollar that we raise through Rotary. And we've already got over $15,000 raised at this point from clubs. So that's $30,000 in the bank as I stand here today. To our friends from Iowa leadership, please take this message, especially Rotarians, please take this message back to your local clubs. You will be hearing more and more about it as we go forward, but it would help if you would kind of get this thing seeded so that when we come to talk to your club, they'll have an idea what we're talking about. Thanks for giving me a little extra minute.
Could I please have 2 groups come up here? One is all the RAG4Clubfoot board members, please. Could you join me at the podium? And all the Rotarian friends in Leadership Iowa, could you please come up to the podium and join all of us in reciting Rotary's 4-way test? Rotarians, could you please rise? Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Our Rotary meeting is adjourned.